All right, so after we figured out the consolidations and consolidation resistance and dollar block, let's get into the neutralized area. Now, neutralized area is where you want to take your max profit. That's where you want to avoid taking profit in the neutralized area. You want to avoid shorting into the neutralized area. That's where the buyers and sellers are agree at a certain price, the stock is unlikely to move up or down. So to be able to identify neutralized area will help your exit and entry to ensure you can get your max profit. And second, 90% of the stock fades about 25% above the neutralized area. This is the point that can be applied on gap up short, multi-day runners, and bound short. So most of the tickers, let's say went from 1 to 5, and so the total gaining dollar is about 4, right? 5 minus 1. Then use that 4 times 75%. That's the maximum profit you'll get from that bound short or gap up short. Now, number 3 is how to really identify neutralized area. So to be able to identify neutralized area on a daily basis, typically you want to look at the yesterday's close. It's pretty much a consolidation without any type of volume. So if you are seeing a consolidation yesterday between 4 to 5, and it's trading no volume, you're looking at 100K, 200K volume. That's the neutralized area you're looking at. And it means the buyers and sellers are agreed to stay at this price and you will not go down under that price. And the reason why there is neutralized area in the stock, and the reason why you have to take profit 25% above the neutralized area is because, first of all, whenever you're shorting into a resistance, there's always new people buying into the ticker, correct? And there's always that stubborn people that will never sell after they purchase the ticker. So that's why the stock traps more backholders and they're unwilling to sell. That means the stock is likely to end up a little bit higher than yesterday when everybody finishes trading. And there's always that stubborn people tends to hold. So you always want to cover above the neutralized area because of those stubborn people. Hopefully you get what I meant. And if the neutralized area involves spikes from yesterday's close with light volume, that means the highest of that afternoon spike becomes the neutralized area. So you want to cover up above the highest price. That means you want to cover 25% above the neutralized area, which is the highest price of the afternoon spike. Now, the second point is if it involves a really aggressive afternoon spike, then you want to cover with a little bit of volume. Then the final profit taking point, you can be 10% above yesterday's close, which is the highest of the afternoon spike. Number 5, I would say personally, I have tracked about a couple thousand statistics on how to really take profits above the neutralized area. There's about 10% of the time that stocks can fade all the way back to the neutralized area, which is the yesterday's close, without any type of volume being traded into a consolidation. But I always recommend a 25% takes your max profit. If you really want to test the water, then you can leave, I would say, 5% of your shares to see if the stock can fade all the way back down to the same level as the neutralized area. All right, right here, I'm going to talk about the fading percentages versus the neutralized area. Those two looks very similar, but they're completely different things. So fading percentages is how much the pattern can fade from the top. And typically, average fading percentage is around 75%. So 75% from the top. And it's day high minus the neutralized area times 0.25. That's where you want to cover. So now there's a different fading percentages for the neutralized area. For bound short, if it's up less than 100%, then the fading percentage is about 50%. Now, if the gap up short average fading percentage is around 75% all the time. Multi-day runner, it's 75 average fading percentage about 75%, but it takes time. Average time is around 2 to 3 months to fade it all the way back down to the very bottom, which is same thing, day high minus the neutralized area from the very beginning times 25. But within about a couple of days, you can fade back down to 50% really quickly. So I do recommend taking profits at 50% of the multi-day runner all the time. If you really want to build a swing positions, you can get extra 25% from the 50% bottom. So then you're looking at first red day, which is also the applied multi-day runner, but there's first red day is a little bit different. Typically, you're shorting after the first red day. So shorting after this first red day, first of all, it does have a great odds. The winning percentage is about 80% or above. But if the first red day pulls more than 50% and you are shorting after the first red day that already pulled down or already went down 50%, then the odds gets significantly reduced and you're not going to get much reward. Shorting after first red day, that means the first red day has to pull less than 50%. So you can get a little bit of reward. The less it pulls on first red day, the more reward you can get on shorting on after the first red day. And last one is the fading percentage for a parabolic is typically 50% from the top. So either they fade 50% and will bounce back up again. If it's trading massive amount of volume, then consolidate and fade back down again. So, but on a parabolic basis, trading massive amount of volume, fading percentage is only 50%. So those are the little difference between different patterns, and track down pretty much all the patterns of their different fading percentages is also very important. And I'm going to talk about how neutralized area actually related to the actual fading percentage.